There are so many well-known criminal men out there. Al Capone, Jesse James, the Cray brothers, even Robin Hood. But what about the women? What about all those masterminding women out there? Where are they? Well, here's one. Mary Karr. Now, she may not be a very well-known name to you or me these days. Yes, you may know of the American actress born in 1874, died in 1973 and appeared in over 144 films. But that's not the one we're talking about today. Mary Karr was the daughter of Jane, a poor woman, and John, a renowned international thief. She really didn't stand a chance, with a criminal record by the time she was 14. Her father had taught her well, and she'd proven herself, undoubtedly, with the way she could sell stolen goods and all the successful heists she'd been managing. She started to gather more and more people around her, more and more women around her. And she became the queen of the 40 Elephants. The 40 Elephants. I mean, is that not just the randomest name you could ever imagine? But there is a story behind that one. This was believed to be the start of the 40 Elephants gang, although there are rumours that the idea of the gang actually started as far back as the 1700s. Now, the 40 Elephants gang were a well-oiled group of all women. Not a single man, not one, all women. Now, they mainly dealt in blackmail and lifting, which obviously these days is called shoplifting. They worked alongside the famous Elephant and Castle gang, a big group of hard men. But that's kind of where they got their name from, 40 Elephants, Elephant and Castle. Many of the ladies had a day job, employed in wealthy homes as maids and the like. This was a perfect placement for them to steal items from the households and even in some cases end up blackmailing the gentleman of the house for even more money. Mary also went by a few other aliases. Polly Karr was one of them. By all accounts, that was supposed to be one of her favourite ones. Now, she did get caught a fair few times for quite a few different crimes, but only ever really short sentences. One time when she was caught, this is what the newspapers had to say. One of those women whose existence is a menace to society. Good looking and possessing unusual tact and ability, she has until her present conviction managed to escape any very long sentence, although she has been in the hands of the law on various occasions. Now, there are a few discrepancies as to why Mary was no longer Queen of the 40 Elephants. It could be that she stepped down, she was in prison, or that she died. Anywho, a new Queen Bee was to step up to the role, Alice Diamond. Now, Alice was born in 1886 and also, like Mary, had a criminal parentage and a criminal record by the age of 17, serving time in Holloway. Now, Alice took the gang to a whole new level. She was the mastermind behind the finely fitted, tailored outfits full of pockets. Imagine how much loot you can get in those dresses. They were dressed for theft on a grand scale. One 19-year-old that was caught had a bag made of alpaca fur hanging from her waist down to her knees, holding in a mass of 45 stolen items. 45! 45 items! Crikey, I'd managed to get that in a shopping bag, let alone stuffed under my dress somewhere. Working in a group every time because it was far less obvious with a gaggle of women than it was if you were on your own. Majority of the women would be distracting everybody from the odd one or two that were pilfering. Now, they never wore any of the items they stole. They always passed them on to their fences. Unfortunately, they tended to pay less than market value, but they did pay straight away and in cash. One of these was the husband of her second in command, Maggie Hughes. She was a feisty woman who liked to drink. Famous for being caught in 1923 carrying a tray of 34 diamond rings out of a jeweller's. She ran straight out the door and straight into the arms of a policeman. Talk about your bad luck. The 40 Elephants were a tight-knit community of women. Now, they didn't just operate in the south of London like their male counterparts at the Elephant and Castle gang, they operated across the whole of London and into other cities as well. They were well organised and at the top of their game. Now, although the two gangs did work quite often together, they couldn't have been more different. As we've already said, the 40 Elephants were a close-knit, tightly organised gang of women. The Elephant and Castle gang were a group of snatch and grab burglars, hard men and crafty villains. Now, in the 20th century, they started to use motor vehicles to get away from the police. And if they were stopped, they would never find anything because they'd already snuck it all off to other members of the team. Even having empty suitcases waiting at train stations so they could just load it all in, put it to one side and run back and get it later. Obviously back then, there wasn't a see it, say it, sort it code in every station. The gang were getting so good that the police even asked the newspaper to stop printing stories about them to try and curtail their notoriety. Clearly this wasn't going to happen. The stories sold papers. Now, there's one hard and fast rule, and that was the 40 Elephants stood by their own. This rule, unfortunately, was going to see the downfall of Alice as Queen of the 40 Elephant gang. Now, one of our own ladies, Marie Britton, fell in love with a lovely man, but he wasn't accepted by the rest of the gang. Particularly not Alice. She forbade it. Unfortunately, she fell pregnant, married him anyway. Now in 1925, the gang, now this is the best sentence I think I've heard for a long time, drank themselves into a fighting mood. They marched on to Marie's lodgings, held Marie at gunpoint and beat up the husband. The police did turn up and they did break it all up. And Alice, unfortunately, spent 18 months in prison. Now whilst Alice was inside, a new queen bee took over. Lilian Rose Kendall, the bobbed-haired bandit. Now she specialised in using cars for the ultimate smash and grabs. She even managed to do Cartiers. When Alice came out of prison, she could see that the gang was in good hands. She later died at the age of 55 of multiple sclerosis, but not before starting a brothel and passing her knowledge to anybody who was new to the gang, as well as some of the old members too. By the 1950s, most of the gang had gone. They'd either died or they'd moved away. And with the ever-changing fashions, they found it a bit more of a struggle. I mean, I couldn't get 45 items under my clothes. And also extra security, making it far more difficult to perform the heists they used to. This all-female gang terrorised London for almost 200 years. Master shoplifters, dressed in the finest fashions, throwing lavish parties, all because they could. An amazing group led by some astounding women of their time. See, it's not all about men. This is really difficult with the cat on your lap. Really difficult.